Guys on the road, we out with school bus
Yeah.
posts. Well, if it's just Washingtonville tomorrow, is Cornwall?
Cornwall, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you'll have a little.
And then Newburgh's the next day.
And Newark's Thursday, which will be more of our headache. School entrances.
I gave you Mark Dave's number. He reached out and said, if you guys need an engineer, I do
Oh,
that.
Okay. All right, we're all set. We're on here. Welcome, everybody, to the September Town Board Workshop. We can get everybody stamped for the pledge, please. Sue, come on, lead us in it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, before we get started, a little introductions. Got our Deputy Supervisor Steve Morone, Councilwoman Sylvia Santiago, Councilwoman Eve Lincoln, Councilman Charlie Bro, have our town clerk, Patty Farina with us, our town attorney Dave Zagon, our receiver of taxes is with us, Sue Tyler, our police chief, Danny Larry's off camera. It's a smart guy. All right, so I promise this is going to be one of the shorter meetings. I'm learning it. So the first thing I had on the agenda here was the hazard mitigation. I just want to bring up a few folks. So I know Sylvia and Charlie are my choices, or you guys volunteered to be on it. So the hazard mitigation, I know we've been talking about a little bit. So ours is not due to expire until October 26th. So it usually takes like an 18-month or so process. I wanted to try to get ahead of the curve, especially for budgeting purposes. The last one that was done, I know I was on in 2020, it was almost $20,000 for it. So for budgeting, I want to do that. So I went out, we got a couple prices, got a prices from the last company that did it for us, which was 22.5. They wanted to do it this time. And MHE threw a price at me of 30,000. So after having a couple conversations with Jeffrey in my office and the county, so lo and behold, the county has a hazard mitigation plan. Their plan is currently expired, but it's on a 1-year extension. The 5th, Thursday, I'm gonna go to a virtual meeting, our engineer as well. They offer it for free. So what's better than the 22 or 30 than free? So I kind of figured the 22.5 from the first company, and then us having to have our engineers on it, him having input, obviously he's not gonna work for free, but he's gonna have his input on it. It's gonna probably come out to the 3rd anyway. So the county will offer it. What they do is the county would, once they approve theirs and adopt it, they would approve an appendix for us as well. Every town has it. I think there's only 2 towns that don't, or one has it with the county. So I figured what we'll do is, I was speaking to MHE's, one of their employees that actually handles it for them. She's going to the virtual meeting anyway, or she's actually going in person at the county on Thursday. We'll do that. So once we get that established that we're gonna go through them, it's gonna cost us maybe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on our engineer's costs for this plan instead of 30,000, which is good.
Good.
And then they, we'll probably have some meetings with the committee first to identify some mitigation things and things to be removed. This is the plan actually here right now that I have that marked up myself. And we'll go through that and we'll get that done. So we're saving ourselves a couple bucks there. So as soon as I get Thursday, I'll know more. I'll shoot you folks an email and let you know where we're at with that. Yeah. 2025 budget. So I just, a couple of reasons I want to put this on. One, obviously tomorrow there's a public hearing to override the tax levy limit, which is we've done since the inception of this in 2012. And then after we go through this, we normally don't have to go over the tax limit, and then we just rescind the law. That is on the agenda. We do have, so Doreen did share with me a memo today, and I can show you folks, but just added some of, just some of the history here. So obviously the tax cap was 2012 was when it was started. Out of precaution, we do this override here. 2025 tax cap again is 2% in New York State, and the inflation rate is 3.3. So obviously with the math, we're still gonna be under that. Basically, we're allowed to, the tax levy increase, we're allowed to go up to 585,000, allowed to go above. That's what we can spend. However, a little crux of that, 266 of it's gonna be strictly for the sewer plant. So, obviously that brings it down to some of our other funds and stuff to probably, darn close to maybe 400. We can increase it if, the increase does happen for those things. They're just waiting for some other departments to finish their budget, lines to her. She'll get through and we'll start picking this here. Like I said, that's just if you guys want to just take a peek at it. But that's where it is. So you will see it on that public hearing for tomorrow for the tax, limit override, and that's strictly just for abundance of caution in the event that something were to happen that we don't. One of the craziest things to me, and I still don't know how they do it, is that Dorian has done this for years. They guesstimate how much medical insurance is gonna go up, because the medical insurance, they don't tell us until December.
Yeah.
So there's no way
My
to,
old
in theory, budget for it, so she can, I think she has in her budget a 10% increase on it, it could be 15, it could be 8, who knows, hopefully it's the under, but. I know we were talking today one time in the past that they actually halfway through the year, they decreased it a little bit. I don't know if that's gonna happen this year, that'd be awesome, but I wouldn't count on it, but. So that's, if you said you guys can take a peek at that. Standard schedule of fees, the next thing on there, so there's just a couple additions. First of all, we have, often now, I guess when people come into, either the building department or assessor's office and they're looking to digitize, like maps and stuff like that, then the PDFs, we've been sending them down the road here to, P&P, and our IT department has the skill to do it. So if they're here and they're not busy, we need to add the fee. It's $5 per page to digitize the paper maps into the PDF. So we're gonna do that now in-house, in the event that the staff's here able to do it. So we have to add that to the standard schedule of fees. And also to the standard schedule of fees, we've been dealing with, and as I'm sure as you see, some solar farms in town. Now, I don't know if you remember, a couple of months ago, we've added, in the standard schedule of fees, a fee you have to pay for if you're gonna come in here and build in town. And say you're building a 100,000 square foot building, you have to come in and pay a certain fee per square foot for that building. You give a check on the application, away you go. We don't have that for solar farms. And when we brought it up, I said, do we have a mechanism here to charge for either the square footage or acreage or something? We don't. We did a little homework through some of our friends in our infrastructure here, what meetings we have. And we were coming up with the idea of using what the town of Walk Hill has. Several of them have it. Walk Hill has it. We, added a couple tweaks to us, and the changes are in red here that everybody has in their mailbox, the solar facilities. So to anybody come in there to do a solar farm, it's $5,000 on an application, that they would actually just put in the application. And then for solar, facilities, the application fee shall be $500 plus, $5 per kilowatt and up to 5 megawatts, and then $3 per kilowatt for projects greater than 5 megawatts. So, again, it's just something that's planned. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, and hopefully it doesn't. They're, talking on the west end of town here, bordering our property, another property, a battery storage place coming in, that they wanna come in. It's way in the infinite stages, and we're still, they trying to do what they gotta do, but there's no mechanism of charging, and we have this in there is, and we'll be able to charge for, whatever their megawatts they're putting out, we'll be able to charge money per that.
Is that also for battery storage?
Anything, yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So that's in that, it's in that standard schedule of fees, you'll see in that, I think, yeah,
Okay.
here's the red line copy of this, so, they're gonna be, that's just gonna be something that we're gonna, obviously we come to you folks to vote for them if they add those fees. And like I said, we notice a lot of, literally somebody can come in and put a 40-acre solar farm field in, and they pay a $50 fee to the building department, that's it. I'm like, that's, listen, they pay engineer costs and all this stuff, I get it, but that's insane to me. We got people working around doing all this stuff and they get $50 out of it. So that's that. The next one, so I've been talking to our attorney's office, which they don't like when I go in there and talk to them, about this, senior housing overlay. So several years ago, matter of fact, in 2016, it was removed. We used to have a senior housing and workforce housing overlay in town. So we took our town map From basically the thruway overpass east to the river was a senior overlay and a workforce housing overlay. In 2016, they repealed it and did away with it. Felt that the town has reached their limits on senior housing and workforce housing. Workforce housing, I agree that we've reached that limit, but senior housing, I certainly think that we have room to take care of the seniors. There was one project in particular, honestly, that came to us that's been on the planning board conversations and kind of approvals, was the old Duffers on 32, which was supposed to be convalescent home.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to, there's really not much of a market for it, they say, so they're trying to angle towards more of a senior housing type layout. The old senior housing has bulk tables, and we have some work to do to get the overlay to get approved to put it in the town. Obviously, everybody's gonna get a copy of it to be able to give some comments on it. It's something that I'd like to see us do the overlay where it allows some of these projects that are on these lands, instead of them putting in a warehouse or a factory or something, we take care of. I tried to get it. Everybody in the infrastructure laughed at me when I said, I told the builder I want them to do senior housing and only New Windsor people can do it. And he's like, I don't know if we can do that. And I'm like, well, let's try. So that's gonna be, coming soon, I hope. I know we've been, a little busy with things that have been popping up, but you're gonna see that, in the next, hopefully, couple of months. And then we can get these, people talking more about that. This order on consent, I think everybody got a copy of that. So obviously, it comes a few days after our last board meeting when we were inundated with people when we were talking about this sewer plant and the money we gotta spend on it. We get an order from the DEC again. This is the best way I can explain it. The DEC offers us money, like planning money for grants. We basically go out, we take that money from them, $100,000. We have an engineer go out and do studies and put cameras in sewer lines, and they look at stuff, and then they suggest to the board, okay, these things need to be done. There's, this sewer line sagging, and that one's clogged, and that one's old. One of the projects that were actually specifically talked about here, the board at the time went out for bonding for this I&I project that they cited us for. And it hasn't gotten done yet. So the DEC now, after they saw that we did the study and haven't finished it, they said, okay, now we're gonna write up on it. So they write us up on it. We get they tell us that, they calculate our penalties of $329,700, of which of that 80,000, if we just pay them 80, then they'll be happy, and then we'll have to go back to the drawing board. So I actually had a conversation with myself and our engineer, Mike Weeks, was here when I called the woman, Kelly Totoro from the DEC, who's gonna sign this. We have a meeting coming up the 19th, I believe, right, Dave? The 19th of this month to meet with them. This is something that's not new through the state. It's just, to me, it's new, but it's not. So we have to, basically, I'm gonna sit with her. We have to kind of plead to them or explain to them why we've gotten this. I did explain to her that we actually had given the DEC our plans for them to approve for our new sewer plant. And after 2 years, they finally came back and said, okay, that looks good to us. So I brought that point up and they said, no, that's a good point, a valid point. So I have to talk this 80,000 down to something. She said, it's not gonna be nothing. It's gonna be something. And then we have to discuss on how we're gonna fix, the problems going forward, what we have. And I believe, I basically explained to her, I said, listen, I don't know what, part you just didn't see, and it's in here, but we're getting $109 million plan to alleviate all these consent orders, but they write us anyway. So that's just a new consent order on this sewer plant that we desperately need. So that's something that you'll start seeing a little more correspondence on that.
That's interesting.
Anything on that? No, we're good. So the no parking signs on Willow Parkway and Walnut, I'm sure you folks have seen in some correspondence back and forth. There was, the highway superintendent, had approached the police department and said to them that there was some issue with cars parked on Willow Parkway. So when you go into Willow Parkway, it's only like a 300-foot stretch between Willow Lane and into their main, thoroughfare, if you will. Both houses on the front corners of Willow Parkway, front Willow Lane, both of those folks in those houses are parking on Willow Parkway, where it kind of
Tightens it up.
clogs it down a little bit. I know from personal experience, we actually had a fire there not too long ago. And one of the, I don't know if it was one of the homeowners or relatives or a friend parked while we were on the fire up around the corner, right on the side street there, and got his car and left. Fire truck's couldn't get through now, it ended up being a mess. So, I went down there with the deputy chief. I knocked on the door of the one house. I, explained to them what we were looking to do. When I was, I'd rather not put no parking signs up if you guys can just maybe park. It was like, yeah, okay, well, basically it didn't
Yeah.
go the, great, I
Yeah,
thought it was gonna go. The other house there, there may be, an issue with, I don't know if it's a tenant or something like that, that's parking instead of using their driveway on Willow, they're parking on the road, so. That quite honestly, the easiest fix, and I don't wanna go to any of these people now in Willow Parkway and tell them, sorry, we couldn't get a fire truck in there.
Mhm.
Willow Parkway has, I believe 2 fire hydrants in it, but the main fire hydrant to get into the complex is directly across it on Willow Lane. Unfortunately, when that fire happened, that fire hydrant was out of service because they just had tested a couple days before and it broke. But that's the main line that you'd have to hit that hydrant, if you will, and go in, and if you do, and there's cars there, then it's impassable then, so, that was one of the ones we were looking. I'm thinking if we do no parking on one side, just gonna push them the other side of the street, we're not
I
gonna
think do it.
solve anything that way,
Yeah.
so I would suggest the best way to do it on
Mhm.
both sides.
Mhm.
With that led to Walnut Street, which is, down on just above the American Legion. There's a section that the New Windsor Fire Department owns, that's vacant land there, if you will, that's all parking on their property there, and it's been a bit of a problem with them. I know they rent their fields out and people will park there and walk over, and again, it causes a congestion problem on the road, so the suggestion is to put some no parking along
For years.
along
Yep.
theirs. And then I just recently added to, today to, spoke to, our paralegal just to probably add, we're gonna probably add karate lane to that up on the airport, the dead end that goes up to the water plant. Both sides, one side of that road there it's been being used by several undesirables, if you will. So we're looking, but right now there's no teeth to move them on. And literally it's a dead end up to our water plant, and I certainly, our water plant that hopefully is gonna be our future one day. And I certainly don't wanna see that cog, choke down for them just parking there and they don't care, so that's gonna be another addition, I believe, the deputy chief just sent out, or somebody sent, this morning, right? Yeah, they went and looked at it, I think they got maps there in his memo, so, that gives you the section of that, so that'll be added to that. With that, when I talk about the water filter plant, so as I'm sure you guys are, aware that I know, amongst the sewer woes we've been dealing with, at least since I've been on the board, with the, water, concerns, whether us running the wells and our plant on Riley Road is aging, and it's really just, we're just throwing good money at that for no reason. So I know from the previous administration, with talking with my predecessor and everything, and engineers and everybody, we felt that it was probably a good idea to, let's start exploring to put a new water filter plant in. My hopes would be to put a new plant in. We all kind of agreed up at Stewart Airport for a reason. And I said that, it would be my dream and goal to, the Riley Road would be decommissioned and Stewart would be our main one, and, the wells wouldn't be used in our distribution system. That's a perfect world. We picked Stewart, it's the highest point in New Windsor. B, we do have a tap there already. The tap would have to be updated, and the buildings and the footprint up there. We did recently put in, for which we didn't get, grant to put in 2 water tanks, would be phase 1 of it, to, I think it's a total of 2 million gallons or so, 2.5 million, 3 million gallons of water tanks. So we basically have a built-in pool up there with a cover on it. We got a 2 million gallon underground tank there, if you will now. That would be replaced with 2 above ground tanks that would open that footprint up for a more permanent water building, and away we go. With that, MHE's been for a little bit, been doing their due diligence, and they've come out with their Stewart Water Filter Plant engineering report. Only 62 million. So, you know, so, and I think I would say like anything else, I would bet if you rewind the tapes, we're talking 62 million today. And if we do build it and the shovel gets in the ground, it's gonna be 102 million. Just my guess. I'm not, you know, I think I'd be lying if I didn't say that 62 we're holding it and that's it. There's a couple of reasons that we not only chose Stewart, not only the highest, we do have a connection out there already. It would be not built on the old, like right now, we're basically doing a sewer plant on the same footprint, so we're replacing the building and adding the building. Replacing doing that here, it would be a whole new operation, and one day you'd flip the switch and move it. We're on the Catskill Aqueduct, the Delaware Aqueduct, which is 15 miles away from Riley Road, we'll call it, is, I know KJ has been in talks with the DEP, the DEC, to run the Delaware tap from the shaft 4, which is in Gardner, down to the Riley Road, their Riley Road connection, which would have to pass by Stewart. So we said, hey, if we have the Catskill Aqueduct there, and they pass by and they throw a little pipe up the street to us for the Delaware, we got our water, we're good, you know, we got water for either shaft for a long time. So that was the thinking that, I will tell you that our engineer went to a meeting not too long ago with, the DEP, the DEC. I don't know if the DOH was involved, a whole bunch of people were involved. And it was more of a stakeholders, coordination and kickoff meeting, if you will. They want to see who was involved. And basically they came up with a plan here. They have an idea, and the very last, I don't know, it's the last page, but with their number was to do this connection is 180 million. So I'm like, all right, well, New Windsor's kind of, I mean, I'm not gonna build a water line for somebody. So it's in the infinite stages, like who's gonna build it, who's gonna own it, who can tap off of it. Basically what, you know, the New York City did, they ran from up north and all the way down the city and people jumped in off of it. So I'm kind of hoping somebody's gonna run it, come through New Windsor. We take a spur off of it, and then we only have to pay a couple bucks to get that for that water, that redundant water, but. You know, I believe it's gonna happen, it's just a matter of when, but just so you know, we are well into this whole New Windsor water, which way we're gonna tackle it, and you know, for me, I know, you know, all of us got together that this is probably the best answer with, updating the tap up the airport, building a newer and improved plant up there, if you will, with water storage and everything, and then Riley Road gets decommissioned, and hopefully we can do away with the well water. Or continue selling it to other people. But that's work in progress. That is, if you want to take a peek at that, that's a pretty, like I said, a comprehensive, but that's 62 today. So I will tell you that.
Is it possible to get a printed copy of that and the mitigation, the hazard mitigation?
Yeah, yeah, I can try.
It doesn't have to be bound.
I'll see if they have it, maybe if they have it electronically.
Yeah, I was just gonna
And then you
say.
can take a
send us
peek,
off-
if you want to print pages, you can come here and grab
Send
a
us
couple
off
trees,
copy,
yeah,
that'd
just
be- we had that.
save a
soft
couple
copy,
trees.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah, so I'll see if you can give me that electronically, and
Yeah.
this hazard mitigation plan's on our website.
It's on the website.
Yeah,
okay.
so if you,
Okay.
This is the old one, that's when.
yeah, if you go actually on the town's website, it's, well, this was approved then, so this is good till 26. So that's on our website, if you wanna, I mean, I can print it here if you want, and I could have it for you. But that's definitely on our website for viewing, and this other one I will get to you, so, and then it'll be here in my office too, anybody, or your office as well, you wanna come and take a peek at
Did
it?
Doreen's memo?
You're
Will
more-
you send Doreen's
Make
memo,
copy.
or do we have, will Doreen
I
send it
can,
to us?
I put a, not, you know what, I started putting notes on
Oh,
it,
yeah,
and I'm
so
like,
we'll
oh,
get it.
darn it, so I'm gonna give you guys clean
Okay.
copies, so you don't plagiarize.
I thought of that.
Think of your own copy.
He said, okay.
The next one is this legislative grant, so, Joe Menuda, our legislator for New Windsor, has gotten this $5,000 for its $4,999 each year. I did have, I went to Patrick and from IT, Patrick's our wonderful IT guy that you can't see, he's off camera, but he's working here because of him right now. He came up with I remember we talked about reestablishing the teen center.
Yeah.
So they came up with a list of the things that they want to purchase with that $5,000 for the content of that stuff. This is that list, and so Patrick has that now, I believe, with But the recreation director, they're gonna go back and forth and see what, stuff that we should purchase now and, we got it, it's $5,000. We were gonna earmark it for that. I wanna get what we gotta get for now, while that, a TV's $500 and not 5,000 and, get stuff we gotta get now and start getting that building. I figured if we get some stuff here and I put on a desk or on a table in front of the buildings and grounds people and say, all right, we need the place now to put it in there, they're gonna scream and yell, but we'll get it done faster, so. So that's from, I'd like to thank the county, specifically Joe for, putting that in for us and reminding us for that, so I appreciate him for that. So that's the thing, if you guys wanna look at that, or if you wanna have some input, or call Jess or Patrick, I'd love to hear.
Do we have the recreation plan yet, or when is that gonna be
So
available?
we meet, next week. I think it's next week. I meet with, our, engineer and the planner for it, Bonnie. And we're gonna put a bow on it and finish it.
Thank you.
We're gonna be all done with it. We do have, I'm sure you saw the one email today from Scuba's office, right, with the grant and stuff. So
That's good.
that was
Yeah.
one of the reasons we needed to get this done, not only for that, but for other grants. we
No,
put
I-
in. So
mhm.
that's gonna be, so that'll be coming. You'll have that. Hopefully the next week or so, we'll have that done and finished and go from there. The next one is the DMV site. So sure, as you guys saw, that I actually been talking to DMV that, they have an office here on Hudson Valley Avenue in the airport. I said it'd be nice if we had our own testing site, in New Windsor. I know some of the Stewart roads are a little sketchy, but we're gonna hopefully get them done, all cleaned up good, but it's good for a new driver, to be able to figure out how to,
Yeah.
Bob and
that was-
weave
that
for
was
it,
really
yeah.
good, thank you.
yeah, so we'll, they'll have another, they're gonna have a site out there. I met out with them the other day with our, with the police department, and we marked where they wanna put a sign. Our highway department has agreed, if we furnish them with the signs they want, they're just 3 little metal signs they're gonna on the pole, they're gonna install the pole for them. And end of September, they're gonna start doing, it's about 30 tests a week maybe out there, start small. Just to kind of see what kind of, I think it's good because I know people go to Beacon or struggle with
Yeah.
Prospect Street, Newburgh, or have to go to Goshen. So it'd be nice if some of these folks that teach their own kids, they can do it right here in town. But it's gonna be on the airport. I can't say where. I don't wanna violate the rules because I don't want people out practicing. But that's where it's gonna be out there. So, once it's up and once the sign's up, which they haven't given to me yet, they said they were gonna bring it today. They'll announce it on their site to people to start signing up. So, I believe it might start someplace by Avenue of America.
Whoa,
That's all. And the project feasibility study. So, as you know, we're doing this wastewater treatment plant. And Dave, jump in here if you gotta rescue me. So we have to do, we don't have to, but the plant's being done in kind of 2 phases, the control building. And then the major part of the project. The control building is $5-6 million, and then bigger part of the project. There's we would get engaged, and I don't know if we did we do the PLA for the wells? I think we did, yeah, they did.
Yes.
So down, when they built the wells, just for example, there was a PLA, which is a project labor agreement, they did it with labor, the local labor, unions, if you will. So just we can't just go ahead and sign the PLA and just say, okay, we're good. It obviously doesn't ethically look good, so we hire a firm that comes in and does a study for us to say whether a project labor agreement on a project this big is gonna save us money. And they will come back and give us the reasons for, I know we've done one for the fire department, I know they signed one for there. Again, we've done it for the wells. I don't know of any other projects that I've been on the board since we've used the PLA. I think they're usually bigger projects, not little tiny projects like this. So this is, the cost for this is $18,000, which would be part of that bonding. And it's, again, could be a significant cost savings by going with this, but they just have to prove it to us. If they can't prove it to us, then it's it's another issue. Then we deal with, whether we're gonna do that or not. So that's you're gonna see that, to be approved for, tomorrow. Keep forgetting tomorrow's the meeting, because of Labor Day. And that's gonna be that's gonna be on the agenda for approval. So that's the agenda. I thought, well, that was a half hour, not too bad. Anybody got anything before we go online?
Good.
No, no.
Thank you.
Motion,
Motion?
motion to move to executive session.
Second. All right, good. So thank you folks for everybody that came.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sue, thank you. Patrick?